Hey guys, Bird Yu-Gi-Oh here. So exactly a year ago, this was my very first deck profile that I ever did. So today's basically the 1 year anniversary of my Yu-Gi-Oh channel, and this was actually the very first deck profile I did. Obviously, this version that I'm doing right here is an updated version, as updated and as good as I feel it could be at the moment without 3 Pantheism. Hopefully that changes on the next ban list. But yeah, thank you guys very much. This has been a pretty good first year. I believe I'm either at 1500 or really close to it. So yeah, thank you guys for all your support, and we'll get right into this. Starting off with 3 Aether. I haven't decided if I think this is the best one or if Erebus is the best, but extremely good card, and especially now having it at 3, it's really nice. Because this allows you to tribute summon on your opponent's turn. Basically, if this card is in your hand, you'll be able to banish a Monarch spell and trap from your graveyard, and then tribute summon this card. So that's really nice, because then when this card is tribute summoned, you'll be able to special summon. You'll send 2 Monarch spell and traps to the graveyard, and then special summon a monster with 2400 or more attack and 1000 defense from your deck, and then you return that to the hand during the end phase. So really good card. It allows you to do some interruption plays as well if you want to play Curaz, or you could get out your Erebus, so then you can tribute summon him your following turn, because when he's tribute summoned, you'll again be able to send those 2 Monarch spell and traps to the grave, which is really important just to kind of get your engine going, and then you're going to be able to shuffle 1 card from your opponent's hand, graveyard, or their side of field into the deck. So it's non-targeting, doesn't send to the graveyard, really nice. And then also, if this card is in your graveyard, you can discard a Monarch spell and trap, and then add a monster in your graveyard with 2400 or more attack and 1000 defense. So if he's in your graveyard, you can use his own effect to discard a Monarch spell and trap and then add him to your hand. So that's really cool, or Aether, or whatever you want to do. And the best way of getting these guys out is going to be with the Squires. So you play 3 Edia. When you normal or special summon this card, you'll be able to special summon basically another Squire or Vassal from your deck. So that just gives you tribute fodder basically. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you'll be able to target one of your banished Monarch spell and traps and add it to your hand. So that's really good for, reusing Pantheism, because you can easily banish that card, get this card off the field, and then add that Pantheism back to hand, and you can use that draw effect more than once per turn. So Eddie is really cool. And then Eidos is really good as well. I really like him at 3, because even if you just have him, and then as long as you have, like a level 6 or lower Monarch, or one of these, and Domain, you'll be able to just normal summon him and then tribute him right away, because when he is normal or special summoned, you will gain an additional tribute summon in addition to your normal summon. So that's really nice. And then you could also, if he's in the graveyard and you have like another Squire in the graveyard as well, you'll be able to banish him and then special summon. So it's just a way of getting more tribute fodder. Really good card. And then just 1 Mithra is the last kind of tribute fodder card. If this card is in your hand, you can't special summon from the extra deck, but we don't play an extra deck, so that doesn't matter. You'll be able to special summon this card and then special summon a token to your opponent's field. And then if this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you gain an additional normal summon this turn. So that's really nice for just getting multiple monsters on board to hopefully lock out your opponent. And then for some of the other Monarchs or like level 6 tribute summonable monsters, we got 2 Curaz. This is kind of your disruption on your opponent's turn if you want to. With Aether, you can special summon this, and then if this card is normal or special summon, you can target up to 2 cards in the field, destroy them, and then each player can draw 1 card for each card they controlled that was destroyed. So sometimes you can use that as draw power. If you have 2 set cards, say, tribute summon Aether, special summon out Curaz, and then target your cards. Then you can draw 2 new cards. Or just disrupt your opponent. Hopefully they don't draw anything too good. But yeah, Curaz is nice. And then we play 2 Vanity's Fiend. This is just locking out your opponent. You know, you open an Eidos and a Vanity's Fiend, just normal summon Eidos, and then tribute summon for Vanity's Fiend, and neither player can special summon. So, pretty cool. And then 1 Vanity's Fiend. This makes it so monster effects cannot be activated. So that is, again, really, really nice. And this one actually is searchable off of Return of the Monarchs. So that is nice. Vanity's Fiend is not, unfortunately. But and then the last kind of tribute summonable monster is Spell Canceller. It's kind of just a tech card that I put in here. But basically it just shuts off spell cards. Spell cards and their effects on the field cannot be activated, and you negate all spell effects on the field. So it's just a really cool, like I said, just tech card. But it's nice to sometimes have, you know, if you can have a Vanity's Fiend and a Spell Canceller, you're sitting pretty good there. So I just thought it was a good little one-of to throw in there. That is it for the monsters. For the spells, it's Domain Monarch, so definitely play 3 Domain. This has 3 amazing effects. Basically, if you control a tribute summon monster, your opponent is not going to be able to special summon from the extra deck. And then if a tribute summon monster you control attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 800 attack during the damage calculation. So that's a really good way of getting rid of, you know, higher attack monsters than 2800 or so. And then also, you can reduce the level of one monster in your hand with 2800 attack and 1000 defense. Reduce its level by 2. So that makes you reduce this down to 2, so it become a level 6. So you just need 1 monster to then tribute summon if you have Domain. So that's really nice to use sometimes as well. Probably the most powerful Monarch spell, though, other than Pantheism, is the Monarch Stormforth. This does not target. Basically, it's a quick play. You just activate it, and then if you would tribute a monster you control for a tribute summon, you can tribute a monster your opponent controls. So it's basically just getting rid of a card on your opponent's field. You know, kind of like Kaiju's, I guess. Really, really good. And then I'm going with 2 Return. I just don't like seeing it in multiples. And obviously playing 2, you have a little bit less of a chance of seeing this card in multiples in your hand. But it is still extremely good. Whenever you tribute summon, you'll be able to add a monster with 2800 or 2400 attack and 1000 defense from your deck. So this is your search power. It's really nice to, you know, normal summon Eidos, have a return, and then, I don't know, say tribute summon a Vanity's Fiend, and then search off of that and Aether. So then you have something. You can tribute summon on your opponent's turn. Kind of cool to just search out whatever you need, basically, is what return is there for. And then Tenacity, as long as you have a monster with 2800 or 2400 attack and 1000 defense, you'll be able to add a Monarch spell and trap from your deck to your hand. So search out any of these, really nice, even a Pantheism. And Pantheism's just at 1. You just send a Monarch spell and trap from your hand to the graveyard, draw 2 cards, and you can banish this from your graveyard and reveal 3 Monarch spell and traps, and your opponent chooses one. So if this is in your grave, you can banish this, and say you really want Monarch Stormforth, you can reveal 3 Monarch Stormforth, and then your opponent's forced to give you a Monarch Stormforth if you need it. So Pantheism, obviously, with that draw power and that second effect, it'll be really nice to have this back at 3 whenever they release it, but for now, we have it at 1, and it's, like I said, you can use that draw power. Like, say you do that banish effect, and then your Edia is sent to the graveyard. You can then add this back to hand, and as long as you have another Monarch that you can discard, you could be able to draw 2 again. So really nice. And then for some other one-ofs, play 1 Rhoda to search out your Edia, 1 for 1 to special summon your Edia. Foolish Burial, you can send an Erebus if you need him, because then you just discard a Monarch and then you can add him to your hand. Or you can send Edia to add back a banished Monarch spell and trap. Or send an Eidos to then banish him to special summon another Squire from your graveyard. So you got a lot of targets for Foolish Burial. And then also playing Foolish Burial Goods. That is really good for sending either like the Prime Monarch to get some tribute fodder, or for sending Pantheism. Those are both really good targets for Foolish Burial Goods. And then for the traps, just doing 2 of the Prime Monarch. You don't want to see too many. This one is one you really want in the grave, because you just banish another Monarch spell and trap, and then you can special summon this card. So that's just, and it's 2400 defense, so that's really nice. Again, more tribute fodder, and then just stopping, damage if you need to from your opponent. And then 2 Monarchs Erupt. This card, basically you negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field, as long as you control a tribute summon monster. Because if you don't control a tribute summon monster, you'll send this card to the graveyard. But yeah, otherwise, it's just skill drain, just shutting off all face-up monsters on the field. Really, really nice. And then the final trap we play, just to give us something that negates, because this deck does not negate anything, obviously except for the monster effects with Monarchs Erupt, but just negating spell and traps and stuff like that, and summons. Solemn Judgment, playing 3 of it. I've been really liking it so far. It hasn't really hurt me too bad, the life points. But yeah, that's the deck, guys. There's no extra deck, of course, because we're playing Domain. But yeah, it's really fun. Hopefully we get Pantheism off the ban list, and this deck will be even better. But again, thank you guys. This has been a really fun first year, and let's keep going with this, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.